People, deluded, I'm back again. The champions, we're qualified from the group. It's lit, people. It's lit. As it says there, we're qualified. We topped the group. We're living the movie. And I'm sure as you lot are watching this, people, the Arsenal carnival party is still going. I know I'm still on cloud nine. We didn't get one. We didn't get 2, 3, 4, or 5. We got 6 goals, people. Arsenal 6, Lens 0. One of the best Champions League nights the Emirates has seen. Kai Havertz had to run it back and scored against Brentford and bagged his first goal at the Emirates. That's actually his second time scoring consecutive games, people. And also, he went previously 31 without netting in such, people. So, yeah, big up Kai Havertz. Hopefully, he's arrived. It was lovely to see the fans gassing him and saying his name. Bukayo Saka is crazy to say we beat Manchester City without our star boy, who we're going to go over him in the course of this video, but it's just breaking. You know, we're spoiled. We don't know, just don't have Martinelli. We've got Saka as well. We've got 2 star boys, players that have both of them. You wouldn't know that they haven't played in the Champions League prior to this season. The way we've been moving has been different. I also think you've got to give Big Gabriel, his flowers, because, you know, Lens had a couple of occasions that on another day maybe goes in the back of the net, but he was good defensively. And I love to see his reaction to keeping a clean sheet. So, yeah, shout out to the goal scorers. It's lovely to see our front 5 players with Jorginho off the bench bagging. Saka is the second player from Europe's Big 5 leagues to reach 10 assists. You can see on screen his statistics for the game, 40 touches, actually won 3 tackles. And, you know, Saka hasn't been, I wouldn't say at his best on the eye, but a key part of being a great player is making the difference when you're not necessarily that. And the last 2 games in all comps, he's done that. And he joins Florian Wirtz of Leverkusen, people, in being the first player in the top 5 league, as I said, to provide 10 assists in all comps, people. And he's the first player in Champions League history to score an assist in each of his first 3 home games. He loves the Emirates, and we love him being here. On keeping up the theme and the propaganda with the star boy, who is a top 5 winger in the world, really, and the world's his oyster. Bukayo Saka has now directly contributed to 7 goals in the Champions League this season, more than any other player, with 3 goals and 4 assists. So nice. I'm sure you'd all agree, you know, despite Saka being 22 years of age, which is actually scary. If you're near Benzema and Luis Suarez for anything in any stat, especially as a young player, you're doing half decent, people. When we were leading by 4 goals, that was also a record at the time in the Champions League, people. So we broke a lot of records last night, on top of getting the 3 points, clean sheet, and safe passage, you know, via the top of the group into the next round. We don't know who we're going to be able to face. We don't know who we're going to come up against. But you can rest assured we'll make it difficult. We also became the first ever English team, people, to lead by 5 goals at halftime in the Champions League tie. And we also became the first side to have 5+ different goal scorers in the first half of a Champions League game. I think everybody would agree. Obviously, there's it's for another video. There's probably a bunch of reasons for why we haven't quite been them sharp shooters as we've been in the Champions League in the Prem. But if we could marry how we've been on the front foot in Champions League games and how we've played in the final third and how we've capitalized on defensive mistakes in the final third with the defensive solidity that we've had in the Premier League, as shown with the various statistics that will aid my propaganda case, we could be unstoppable, and maybe we could dream, people. It's also the first English team to be leading by 5+ goals at halftime in a Champions League game. As I was saying earlier, I wouldn't say it's the best Champions League night I've seen at Arsenal Football Club, but it's definitely up there, definitely where the Emirates is concerned. You know, only Barcelona with a teenage Jack Wilshere bossing them legends. And maybe when Ozil was here and we didn't batter them, but we beat Bayern Munich, people. It's firmly up there, people. Absolutely amazing. We're also, you know, with us winning, you know, we hit records for winning by 6 goals, people. And we also broke a lot of statistics where Lens are concerned.
Statement performance, you know, the way you played, goals all over the pitch. Yeah. If you can carry on playing like that, is there any reason why you can't compete in this competition to the very end and go on and win it?
I mean, that's what we wanted to do today. You know, I think the last few games we've been really good defensively, and today we wanted to show even more on the ball and to get some more goals as well. So we did that, and we knew what we were playing for today, and I think you saw the motivation and the hunger out there, so that was good.
Did it send a message, though, to the rest of the big teams in the Champions League?
Yeah, I mean, every time we play, we want to send a message, of course. We want to win every time we play, and we want to put on performances like this. So, yeah, it was a good season.
We don't know. You don't know. We just have to face every game like a final. I know sometimes it's difficult, sometimes we play amazing like we did tonight and then don't get 5-6 goals. That's the football.
A skillful player for Carlos Zacharias, but the sheer force of will to create that second goal for Gabriel Jesus, does that almost say more about him than anything else he does?
Yeah, that's a different edge, to score ugly goals as well and be involved in these actions that gives an advantage to your teammate, and he did it as well against Burnley when he won that header for Leo, and that's a different kind of aggression that is going in his game, and that's a really positive.
Big claims from Gabriel Jesus. He wants to actually win this competition. I mean, we have to be in it to win it. We know there's some tougher tests ahead. We don't know who's everybody who's qualified. We don't know what our team climate will look like. We don't know if there'll be injuries. We don't know if we'll be in this run of form, but we'll deal with that in February. First things first, we need to wrap up the Champions League in style away to PSV, who I think mathematically are still playing for stuff, and it's a game of football. Now, obviously, we've got a congested and very condensed fixture calendar list, in December, on top of the amount of football we've played in all competitions. So it does present Mikel Arteta to inject minutes into the legs of some players who haven't played on a regular basis, and I'm sure where you lot would agree, the Sakas, the Jesuses, the Martin Odegaards, potentially Benjamin White, Saliba, Martinelli, maybe they can get the night off or the night off in some capacity, and them sort of things there. But so on, so good. I'm starting to even back us against PSG. Arsenal winning is starting to make me a monster. I might truly start living up to me. That's cinema. That was cinematic. That was orgasmic. That was better than sex, people. Again, slight exaggeration, but can you blame me? Football is probably the most important thing in a lot of our lives. When we lose, it's doom and gloom. When we win, it's effing fantastic, people. So our job is just to keep doing what we're doing, really. It was cinematic. We got revenge on Lens for beating us at their place. We kept a clean sheet. We scored some goals. We topped the group. I don't look at the league tables for the Champions League or the Premier League, but allegedly, lull people, we're top of the Premier League and the Champions League. And we still have concerns as Arsenal Football Club fans about the levels we can go at and what our team will really be able to achieve come May. But so on, so good. These are the nights that we aspired for years to re-qualify for. To be fair to you, I like the fact that we weren't at our best in a good way. We didn't have to exert our best. We didn't have to physically outdo ourselves. It weren't a crazy game where we've conceded or we've scored and they've kind of put a spanner in the works. We took advantage of the mistakes they made. We was a more cerebral team. We picked our punches wisely and ultimately, like a snake in the jungle, pounced on our prey, really and truly. Lens had a couple of half chances, but that's football. Them things are going to happen, especially in the Champions League. When you look at the statistics via the breakdown, people, the reason I didn't do a watch along is because I was there. Footage is still on YouTube on Arsenal.com. Go and have a butchers of that and leave a DG comment or something like that. You can also check out my AFTV interview as well, better yet. Right after you're taking the content that you're listening to at this moment in time and the other content. So yeah, but I digress, people. We had 50% of the ball. We had 6 goals, of course. We had 15 shots. We had 8 on target. The very fact that we had 15 shots, 8 on target and scored 6 goals, those are the sort of averages and margins I want to see in the Premier League. Again, the dynamics are very different. We're playing teams that play in England, that set up in low blocks week in, week out and know us a bit better. Where we've seen Sevilla, Lens and PSV, they've given us a lot of space, really, and we've taken them to the cleaners like lambs to the slaughters, people. So that was lovely. But statistically, it was way more of an even game potentially than the scoreline. Now, all that matters is the scoreline. I want to see Arsenal put in performances like this on a more consistent basis in all competitions where it's not drama. I want more performances, not even necessarily the scoreline. I want more performances and winning and getting 3 points in this manner than I do of the dramatics last season where Reece Nelson's winner saw us come back from behind against Bournemouth. That cerebral approach is the foundation in which champions are built on, people. The Invincibles and the many other club sides. To be fair to Lens, their fans never shut up. They had 50% of the ball. Obviously, no goals. Had 7 shots, 3 on target. Actually had no corners, which was crazy in that regard. Almost unheard of. I did want 7, but I guess I can do with 6. So yeah, man, we Champions League nights is what we aspire to do, creating memories, making the fans feel happy, making the fans feel a sense of belonging and pride. And I think these players do such. Saliba, well, you know, nothing to really waffle about in Saliba with that game, but Saliba quality, Odegaard back on the score sheet, Declan Rice firmly a Rolls Royce, Saka and Martinelli continuing wreaking havoc. Gabriel Jesus turns into, you know, Ronaldo, the Brazilian Ronaldo, his fellow countryman in the Champions League. Tomiyasu, great going forward, and I believe got 2 assists. Kai Havertz did what he needed to do. And it was also lovely to see Jorginho score a pen, because I know Italian football fans are not happy with the fact that he takes penalties. As I said, the feel-good factor is here to stay. We don't know the many twists and turns, bumps and bruises that this season has to throw at Arsenal. It's been a long season already, and I don't even know if statistically we're halfway through. You know, a week is a long time in football. So imagine a few months. It feels like just the other day, us Arsenal fans were complaining about Thomas Partey playing right back and Gabriel being dropped, and what this injury means for Timber, obviously in his first Premier League game. In fact, it was, you know, it was all doom and gloom for Zinchenko and maybe even Tomiyasu when Timber was all the range in August. But this is why we need a squad. This is why we need multiple players that, you know, make us better. And don't, you know, as Arsenal fans, there's been several times it's always the player that isn't fit that we waffle about. You know, we've beaten Manchester City in the Prem without several key players. You know, where every player is pulling their weight. We've seen so many different goal scorers, more focused on the Premier League. And I guess Jorginho's goal kind of typifies the point. The amount of substitutes or impactors, as Mikel Arteta refers to them as, who have come off the bench and made a difference for this football club. This is what we need. Of course, I would have loved to see Ethan Nwaneri and Miles Lewis-Skelly come off the bench. I think Mikel Arteta is very harsh. I think some fans are going overboard with his reluctance to bring them on. The very fact that at 16, 17, however old they are, people, you know, are on the bench in a Champions League game in a time where Arsenal are actually competitive, shows that they're on the right track, and hopefully they get their debut. You know, side topic, people, but could you imagine what was we doing at 16, 17? They make me think my life's crap. At 16, 17, I was saving up to do, you know, driving tests and, you know, taking girls out. I was just trying to get pussy, really and truly. So I'm sure these don't have an issue with that. And shout out to them because they've recently returned from representing Arsenal and England in the Under-17s World Cup, where we did go out in shocking circumstances. But yeah, man, the 6-0 victory against Lens was lit. I implore you to check on your United supporting friends.